So, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Who likes getting presents? Who thinks Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year because you get presents? Oh, y'all are just trying to be like super spiritual. Jessica's the only honest one in here. Yes, me too, right? Like, if there's no presents at Christmas time, you know that, like, its level would go down. Like, your birthday would at least be above it, which is horrible because Jesus' birthday should be above your birthday, right? But you know you like your birthday, not because you were born on that day, but because you get presents on that day. Am I right? Am I right? That is why you like it. And people celebrate you. Like, that feels good sometimes, right? But Christmas is awesome because we celebrate Jesus. We get presents. You got lights, festive, like all the way since before Halloween. Like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. We're going to see tonight what our response to Christmas should be. We're in a series called, it'll be up on the screen, called, I forget what it's called, New Season's Greetings. New Season's Greetings. Last week, our season, does anybody remember what our season's greeting was? We looked at a passage in the Bible that isn't your normal passage that you go to for Christmas stuff. It was Mary and Martha. And the season's greeting was, have a Merry Christmas. It's spelled different, M-A-R-Y, not a Martha Christmas. Now, don't go around saying that to people because they will look at you weird. Like, it will happen, okay? Tonight, we're going to see, our season's greeting is, come and see, go and tell. You see that at the bottom of your notes. By the way, there's blank notes. That's for you to take notes of whatever God speaks to you, whatever. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I need to remember that. You take notes down. You see the main passages that we're going to be at tonight. Come and see, go and tell. So, speaking of presents, our son Hudson has been like eat up with Christmas, right, Sarah? But like in a good way that has turned into kind of an annoying way, more so to Sarah than me. Hudson has been all about getting presents and wrapping presents for people. Now, getting presents, it's not like getting in his piggy bank and going and buying stuff. It's getting stuff around the house. And he has wrapped dozens of presents. Dozens. Like, he has spent hours and hours and hours wrapping presents. And he thinks about them. It's thoughtful. Like, was it Sunday we came home from church and he was so excited about us opening presents. He had some under the tree for us. He had one in my office, one in Sarah's office, a present in Hopeland's bedroom, and he of course wrapped some presents for himself too. And so like he was so excited about us opening presents. And it was stuff like mine he really did make like a little car. But then it was stuff like he gave me and Sarah a little thing, and it was mixed up. Like he knew purposefully what he was given. What was it, Sarah? I can't even remember. Like a chapstick for Sarah. A candle. Oh, yeah. One of those slap bracelets. Like he accidentally had them mixed up. Like Sarah had one. He's like, no. That's wrong. And like he purposefully, and he is all about giving these presents. But the hard part, he will not stop talking about it, and he will not stop confiscating every bag, every box, every piece of paper, every piece of wrapping paper, and every bow. Like he's gotten in so much trouble, but he is so excited about giving gifts, and he won't stop talking about it. Now, it's a little annoying for us, but this is how Christmas should be, right? He even acted excited when he opened up his own present that he gave to himself. He was like, oh, yes! It's like, this is what Christmas is about. I want you to think back to some of your favorite gifts as a kid, okay? It's hard to remember some of that excitement like I'm seeing with my kids, at least with Hudson right now. I want you to think back, what is some of a present, just a few people that you got like the most excited about whenever you received it? Can someone just say it? What was it? A rifle? You'll shoot your eye out, kid. You see what I did there? Yeah, Christmas story. That was a BB gun, not a rifle. Like, awesome.
I was 7. I wanted a Gizmo gadget for Christmas. I screamed for like 30 seconds straight.
Yes, you screamed for like. What was your reaction, Jackson? Was it? Did you at least smile? You were really happy. Did it show on your face? And were you like, oh yeah? Did you do something like that? You went and hugged your dad. That's awesome. Anybody else? What's a present that you were like, yeah. Anybody want to share? You already shared. Anybody else? Okay. Now, what do you do when you get a present that you really like? What do? You scream? Anybody else? You just sit there? You smile? You at least smile. Okay. All right. Now, if you're a little kid, I want you to go back to whenever you're a little kid. What is it that most adults around Christmas time, at least Christmas morning or the next day, if they see a little kid, what's the first thing they say to the kid? What? What'd you get for Christmas, right? What'd you get for Christmas? What'd you get for Christmas? Now, what does the kid do? Does the kid like run away and hide? No, even a shy kid will be like, let me tell you, I got blah, 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 blah. I got a rifle, I'll shut my eye out. Like I got this, I got that, a gizmo gadget. Like little kids don't even wait to be asked to tell people what their gift is at Christmas. Like they just want to tell the world. Are you with me? Do you agree with me? Yes, because you've been there if you're not there right now. They're just as excited about telling everyone about their gifts as they are to see what their gifts are. And why wouldn't that be? That's what you do with great and wonderful things. When you are given something great, hopefully you see where we're going with this. When you've been given something great, you want to tell people about it. Do you agree? Yeah. It just makes sense that kids would want to tell everybody what they got for Christmas. But what do you do as teenagers? Do you? It's not the same, right? It's not the same, right? How many of you have lost some of your excitement about Christmas since you were a little kid? Just be honest. Nice. That was last year. Just wait till this year. No. But something happens. That's why you have movies about like Polar Express. Only little kids can hear the bell ring. It's like because you lose the wonder. You lose the awe. You lose the sense of amazement. You lose the feeling and the emotions that come from it. You still have things. We still have things that we want and need. And hopefully we even get some of them Christmas morning. But would you start conversations as a teenager by telling people what you received? Like your aunt and uncle, like right when you see them, I got new underwear for Christmas. Like, do you do that? I was like, I got a shirt that I'll wear sometimes. Like, do you do that? Maybe our gifts aren't as big, or like maybe if you get like a PS5, is that the new thing? Like, would you tell people at least about that? Maybe it depends on what the present is, right? But we're not as excited. Would you go out of your way to tell strangers who didn't even ask what someone else gave you? Most probably would not. But why? Listen, is it that as we get older, we aren't as excited or the gifts don't mean as much to us? Hopefully not, right? They should still mean as much. Or maybe there's been some disconnect somewhere. Hopefully you see where we're going. Somewhere along the story of Christmas, somewhere along the gospel story, what we sung about, there's been a disconnect, if we're honest. Somewhere along the way, we've lost that glimmer in our eye, that excitement on our face. We've lost that running and hugging. We've lost that squealing for 30 seconds or 30 minutes. We've lost, in a sense, that love we had at first. I mean, that's why the Bible warns against that, right? We sang the gospel story tonight, and that's what Christmas is all about, is God coming to save us. Somewhere we forgot that the story of Christmas didn't stop when the shepherds got to the manger or when the wise men made their way to Bethlehem. They were excited to come and see what God had done. But after they had seen and experienced God's gift, they were excited to tell everyone what they had seen and experienced. That's what we're going to look at tonight for the next few minutes. We're going to take a look at two responses that the shepherds and the wise men had. The same responses both of them had to seeing Jesus, to seeing and experiencing Christmas, to seeing and experiencing the gospel, the good news. So, open your Bibles to Luke chapter 2. Luke chapter 2. And this isn't, I say it every time, but this isn't going to be a super long message. So, just track with me, hang with me. We're going to see this one thing we should come and see and go and tell. This was the response that the shepherds had the minute the angels had left them. This is our first passage. Luke 2, we're going to read verses 15 and 16. Luke 2, verses 15 and 16. When the angels went away from them into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us." And they went, what does it say? With haste, and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. They went with haste. Look at the underlined words. What did they say? They said, "Let us go," right? Let us go. Let us go and what? And see, right? And then what did they do? They went with haste. So, part of the reason is because they just see a multitude of angels. First of all, that would freak you out and scare you. Every time you see that in the Bible, the angels have to say, "Don't be afraid." And it's because, like, you would be afraid if you saw one of these. You're like, "You're going to kill me." But they were in awe. And the angels, what'd they say? I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, Christ the Lord. That is what the angels said to the shepherds. These normal people out in the pasture, like you and me, normal people. And these angels come proclaiming it to them. And so what would you do if they were like, "Good news of great joy. The Messiah is here. Good news of great joy. That's for all people. Yeah!" Whoosh, and they disappear. And it's quiet again. You hear, you know? What would you do? Would you like look at each other like, then you just sit back down and start chewing on some grass? I don't know what the chew. Like, "Hey, sheep, come here." Like, do you just go back to your business? Is that what you would do? What would you do? What would you do? They hightailed it out with haste. They went and saw for themselves what the angels had proclaimed. The first thing we must do is come and see. The Bible says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." By the way, a shepherd said that. You know who said that? King David. "Taste and see that the Lord is good." We must come and see. This is the same thing that the wise men did. Same response. Look at Matthew. Go to Matthew chapter 2. Matthew chapter 2. Matthew chapter 2. The second part of verse 2 says this. They said, where am I? "For we saw his star." By the way, I'm in Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. The second part of that verse says, "For we saw his star when it rose, and we have" what? "We have come to worship him." Did it say we have sat still where we are to worship him? We have stayed in, a lot of scholars think Babylon. We have stayed in our comfy homes and our books and reading, and we realize he has come and we have stayed to worship him. No, it doesn't say that. What does it say? We have come to worship him. They took months' journey to get there. We have come to worship him. Look at verse 10. Look at verse 10. It says, "When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy." Exceedingly with great joy. This is good news. God coming is good news. These people, the wise men had studied over these prophecies. And they saw this star appear. And they knew the Messiah is here. So they went out of their way to go and see for themselves this good news of great joy that the shepherds heard about. And what happened? They went out of their way and to go experience it for themselves. And they did. Again, King David, the shepherd, said, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." God's call to them to come and see is the same call he has for each one of us. Come and see what I've done for you and what I can do for you. That's what he's saying. Some of you in here have never come and seen and experienced the love of God for yourself. Some of you in here have seen it from afar. You believe it in your mind. You've grown up hearing about it, but you really don't know what it means to savor and to love and to cherish Jesus. Some of you have tasted the world so much that you want nothing to do with the things of Christ. This is not what the shepherds have done, not what the wise men have done. They came and saw for themselves, tasted and seen the good news. The Lord is good and what he's done for us. And he calls us to do the same. Come and see. See, Jesus knew that once people experienced the love and forgiveness that is only available in him, they would be forever changed for the better. He also knew that once they had been changed by his love and grace, once you had seen and experienced for yourselves what God has done through the gift of his Son, nobody would be able to keep it to themselves. You know how I know that even for myself, that glimmer of the gospel, that love, of Jesus and what he's done for me, that cherishing of the good news, you know how I know that it isn't as bright as it once was. It isn't, I don't cherish it as much. I'm not as in love with him. I'm not as seeking after him. You know how I know? Because we don't tell people about it. Because we don't tell. Whenever you have good news, you can't help but tell. Do you agree with me? Okay, what happened last time you saw a movie you absolutely loved? What'd you do? Naturally, without trying, what'd you do? Hey, dude, you got to see this movie, right? You got to see this movie. What about, like, there's a new dish at a restaurant you love? It's like, oh my goodness. Like you Snapchat it, you do all this stuff. You're like, you got to try this dish. Like, without prompting, like you go and tell, right? Whenever you have good news, like if you were just given $20,000, like, hey, here you go, $20,000. Like, you would just be like, thanks. No, you're like, they just gave me $20,000. Like, if you have good news, you cannot help but share it. You know how I know we've lost our coming and seeing, we've lost our savoring, we've lost our cherishing, because we don't see the good news as good enough to share anymore, right? That's not what the shepherds did. That's not what the wise men did. You know, the shepherds heard of the good news of great joy that will be for all people. Then the angels left, and they're alone. And they go and see for themselves the baby laying in the manger. And they don't just stop there. They don't just cherish it in their heart as we see Mary does. Let's see their response. The next, so come and see. Here's go and tell. Back to Luke chapter 2. This follows up what we read just a minute ago. Luke chapter 2, verses 17 through 20. I went to Luke 17. Luke 2, verses 17 through 20. When they saw it, they made known the saying that had been told them concerning this child. And all who heard it wondered at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured up all these things, pondering them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had seen, as it had been told to them. So go back to that previous slide, starting at verse, 17? All right, let's look at this again. What did the underline? When they saw it, what'd they do? They cherished it. They sat still. They just loved it so much. Like, that's how you love things, right? Like, I love it. I just love it. Is that what they did? Am I acting weird right now? I don't care. But that's like what we do sometimes. Like, I love her so much. Well, if you love her so much, tell her, right? Like, what'd they do? They made known this saying that had been told them concerning this child. And all who heard it wondered at what the shepherds, they could tell, felt in their heart. Is that what it says? They wondered at what the shepherd's lifestyle showed that they believed and cherished. Is that what it says? No! They wondered at what the shepherds told them. What the shepherds told them. When you have good news of great joy that is for all people, that is for your neighbor, that's for the person sitting next to you, that's for you, that's for your family member, that's for the person at the cash register, that's for your crazy uncle, that's for everybody. It's good news of great joy that's for all people. When you have news, news must be told. And the shepherds told it. I wonder what it was like. Like, did they have a little huddle? You know, it's like, I wonder if they had a game plan or if they just went out yelling it. Or they're like, all right, Bartholomew, you tell about the first angel. You know that fear not, unto you is born this day part. And Ezekiel, you tell the part about the multitude of angels that surrounded us and started singing. Jebediah, you tell the part about the star. And Doug, you tell the part about Mary, Joseph, and the baby in the manger. Okay, everybody got it? Everybody got it? Ready? Ready? Break, go! And they just girded up their loins and ran off. Do you think that's what happened? I want you to think about this. How do we know? How do we know this story? How do we even know the account of the angels? How are we able to read it? How? What do you think? So who's writing this? His name's on there. Who's writing this? Right there, it says it. What? Luke, yeah, good job, Luke. Now, if you go to the beginning of Luke, Luke's saying, I'm compiling, I'm researching. He's writing to a guy named Theophilus. I'm researching, I'm interviewing people, I'm compiling to give a good account of all these things that have taken place. And this is where he starts. This is towards the very beginning of this long letter that he wrote to Theophilus. He's interviewing people. How do we know, how do we have this account of the angels coming and the shepherds and them going and seeing? How do we have this account? Tell me. What do you think? What? He didn't see it. Luke came to believe later, after Jesus was grown. How do we have this account? Because the shepherds told people. The shepherds told people who told people who told people who told people. If news is this good, it has to be shared. The only reason we know about it is because they told people. And it wasn't just yeah, this is great. This happened over here. There's this manger the animals eat from. There's a baby in it. That's pretty cool. It wasn't like that. It got told and told and told, and that's how we're even able to read it. We must come and see, and we must go and tell. Once God has shown up, once God has made a difference in your life, you tell people about it. There's no other way. If it is good news for you, you tell people about it. I remember being in this room for Refuge as a teenager and being convicted with a message similar to this. It's man, if I cherish Jesus, if I really believe what this says, I have to tell people. And there's people I know, people I love, people I've grown up with, people I care about, who I don't know if they're going to heaven. I remember after Refuge going out this door, we never go out this door. You go out this door and standing under that awning out there and calling my friend Jack and saying, man, this is weird, this is awkward. I don't even know how to ask this. But I don't know if you believe in Jesus. And sharing the gospel with him. He said he believed, but to this day, I still don't know for sure. But you know what I did? I went and told. I went and told. Now, there's many, many, many times that I have failed to do that. But I know, and I need to be reminded over and over and over. I need to sing the gospel. I need to read the gospel. I need to think about it. I need to talk about it. I need to realize what it means for me. This is good news of great joy that is for all the people. And when you have good news, you naturally share it. Amen? So come and see and go and tell our typical responses to Christmas, or they should be. But there's one other response we occasionally have on Christmas morning. And that often happens to the gospel with us. So there's some people who, whenever you get a gift and you don't like it, now what do most people do? I think most people, some people, like my wife, I'll call her out, and my son is worse because he has no filter. But some people will actually tell you, this isn't my favorite. Or I don't really, I do not do that. If there's a gift I don't like, I'm I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. I don't go that far. But whenever you get a gift you don't like, and they're watching you, they picked it out for you, and they're what do? Maybe a little grin. Maybe a little grin, right? But what really happens when you open something you don't love? this is what happens, like, sucks. Or like, maybe you hate the color purple and it's like a purple shirt. Like, maybe you go on. But what is my response? What was my response right there that I just demonstrated? Silence. You get something you don't care for, what's your response? I mean, you might give a little half-hearted, thank you, Aunt Jill. Maybe. You might give a little grin. But what's our response? It's silence. When you get a gift you don't cherish, a gift you don't like, a gift that's not important to you, a gift you didn't want, our response is silence. I want you to think about your response. Listen, I want you to think about your response to Jesus, to the gospel, to God being made low, to the creator of the cosmos, the one who would see the sinful world he made and drown every single person, except for a few, in a flood, who would look at a sinful city and burn it to the ground. This same God hasn't done that for you and me. But he entered into humanity, born as the most helpless thing you can possibly be. A baby. Lived a perfect life that you and I can't live. We deserve to be drowned in the flood. We deserve to burn in Sodom and Gomorrah. But he came, lived a perfect life we can't, and suffered. Not just died, not just lived a good life, then died of old age. No, like he was mocked, he was beaten, he was made fun of, he was lied about, he was tortured, he was bloody to the point of almost dying. He was stripped naked and hung, nailed to a cross, hanging naked in front of people. God! For you. For me. He died. But then he rose from the dead. Like if your dog was dead and it rose from the dead, like Rover's alive. Johnny, Rover's alive. Hey neighbor, I don't know you. Johnny's alive. My dog was dead. He's alive. Let alone a person. Can you imagine? God, Jesus, is alive. He's alive. He's not dead. He's alive. You know what that means? That means you can have life. That is what Christmas is about. That's what the shepherds are seeing. God made low. I got to tell everybody, this is good news of great joy that will be for all the people. The angel told Joseph, you'll name him Jesus, for he will save the people from their sins. The name Jesus literally means the Lord saves. So what's your response with this gift? It's a free gift, and the gift must be open. If you're in here and you've never opened that gift of salvation, you're getting the judgment like at the flood. You're getting the judgment at like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going to rain down. But Jesus offers forgiveness. And it's a free gift that must be opened. But how do you see that gift? How are you seeing and perceiving that gift? Are you looking at it with, oh, thanks, God? Then going on to your next gift, your PS5 or your whatever. Or are you grateful? Are you in awe? Are you thinking and dwelling? Are you going and telling? This is the response to Christmas. This is the response to the gospel. This is the good news. It is for us good news of great joy that will be for all people. We must come and see for ourselves, and we must go and tell everybody and anybody who will listen and who won't listen. It don't matter. So tonight, I would invite and challenge you to simply respond to Christmas. If you have never experienced the love and forgiveness that Jesus was born to provide, would you come and see for yourself tonight? Right here, right now. There's no greater Christmas present that you could ever receive than a personal relationship with Jesus and the redemption that comes with it. And listen, and if you have experienced the miracle of Christmas for yourself, would you, like the shepherds on that night so many years ago, would you go and tell others what God has done for you so that they too may find and worship the King whose birth we celebrate? Listen, this room, I want you to look around. I know it's a pandemic. But before this, we were having, it's not a numbers thing, but 40 people. There's 30 chairs out, actually 29 chairs. So you can see. You know what's happening? I mean, some people are getting in a pattern of not coming. But what's happening is we're not going to tell him. We're not going to try to reach. We're not reaching out. We're not saying, come with me. You want to get excited about the gospel, you're going to see people come to faith in Jesus and go from death to life. That'll get you excited about the gospel. But if we aren't excited about the gospel enough to go and tell and come and bring and say, come and see for yourself, no wonder our excitement has waned. We're not seeing life change because we're not going and telling. We're going to play a song on the screen. This isn't a time to talk. This is a time to really search your heart. Do you have a relationship with Jesus? Are you a believer in Jesus? Are you a Christian? Have you been saved? The name Jesus means the Lord saves. If you have not, right now is the time for you to give your life to Jesus. I'm going to be right up here in the front. Come to me if that's you. I want you to search your heart if you do have a relationship with Jesus. Ask him, why am I not cherishing what you've done for me? Oh God, I rededicate myself to you. Set me on fire again. Let me taste and see that you're good. Maybe you haven't been reading your Bible. Come bow down and pray. Pray for a lost person you don't know if they're going to heaven. Come pray for them by name up front, not just in your seat. Demonstrate with your body. Or maybe you should step out that door and go call somebody. Whatever it is, let's respond to Jesus right now.